Hi, I'm Nigel Smith. This study emerged out of several years teaching in high schools. It ran across 1 year and focused on the differential impact of face-to-face and online teaching and learning approaches on two classes of students. I was both the teacher and the researcher, and so expectancy theory came to play a key role in interpreting the findings of the study.
The research literature around technology and learning seems to be divided into utopian and dystopian views. On the one hand, technology is said to give students voice, to deepen reflection through asynchronous learning, and to make learning more efficient. On the other hand, it's also said to undermine social connectedness, to provoke resentment amongst students for whom technology is a barrier, and to fragment learning. I was interested in exploring whether these tensions could be resolved. To explore these issues, I took 2 Year 12 classes taught by myself in the same subject across 1 year. Each week, students in the control class attended 3 lessons face-to-face. In the experimental class, students attended 2 lessons face-to-face and had 1 supervised study period. They were expected to participate in learning structured through an online learning management system or a portal. Students were aged between 16 and 18, around about half female, half male, and about 90% Pākehā. There were 3 measures employed. I compared their grades on a set of standard assessments. I surveyed their perceptions of satisfaction, connectedness, support, and learning, and I maintained a blog throughout the whole year. This table gives an overview of the relationships between the variables for all participants in the study. On the left, the means and standard deviations show that students had a generally positive experience, both in terms of their performance on the assessments and of their perceptions of the various measures employed. The alpha coefficients give us confidence that the scale measures of perceptions are reliable. Moving to the right-hand side, looking at the correlations between the variables, the 3 measures of performance, the test, the essay plan, and the essay, all intercorrelate reasonably well. And also the perception measures intercorrelate. Those who felt positive about their learning, for example, also enjoyed the class. 2 striking things stand out. There are almost no correlations between the performance measures and the perception measures, which is an interesting and surprising finding. And the negative correlation between online preference and face-to-face preference, which are both general attitudes towards a learning style, indicates that some students prefer learning via online methods and others via face-to-face. When we compare the differences between the groups, the first thing to note is that there are no differences observed between the classes on any of the measures of actual performance. And the test, the essay plan, and the essay, both classes scored approximately the same. Similarly, no difference emerged in their general preference for online or face-to-face learning. Where differences did emerge, it was clear that the experimental class had a higher or more positive sense of social connectedness, a more positive feeling about their learning, perceptions around teacher support were higher, and they enjoyed the class more. These differences between the 2 classes were striking, particularly because they were in the exact opposite direction to the intuitive sense that I had as a teacher of the classes. The extract from my blog shows that I felt the standard or the control class were more engaged and learning better. So we have a situation where the empirical findings challenged my intuitive sense of what was going on. This is a fascinating situation to be in. This is where expectancy theory was so helpful in interpreting the findings. I was reassured that the difference observed could not have been due to my expectations, because the experimental class was the one perceiving a more positive experience, whereas my expectations were the opposite. On pondering it further, perhaps my expectations were causing an effect, and the effect was to minimize or mask the magnitude of any differences between the classes. Flipping it around, what's really interesting in this study is that my own expectations about the relationship with the students were perhaps not realistic for blended learning environments, and I'll explore that further next. Considering my own role in the teaching context, when teaching face-to-face, the teacher is the mediator between the students and the content. No matter the techniques that are employed, technology or games or other kinds of pedagogical devices, the teacher constructs and is the center of all of that interaction. However, when teaching online, technology becomes the main mediator between students and learning. And although the teacher structures that learning environment, they have been moved from a place of centrality to a more peripheral zone alongside the students who interact directly with the knowledge. So paradoxically, the students feel more connected to their learning, more connected to each other, more connected to the subject, but the teacher at the same time feels less connected. And this, I think, is illustrative of what I was experiencing. In conclusion, this study found that there is a diversity of preference for online and face-to-face learning amongst students. Online interactions may strengthen student perceptions of learning, connectedness, enjoyment, and teacher support. Perceptions of students may be only weakly associated with their performance, if at all. And teachers may paradoxically feel less connected to students at the same time that students are feeling more connected to the subject and their own learning when using online tools. This study was enabled through a scholarship provided by Kristen School. If you have any further inquiries, drop me a line at nsmith@laidlaw.ac.nz. Thank you.